Good evening, everyone. I know exactly how we all are, as you should know that the board voted 10-4. Out of the 4, 3 were deaf board members, 1 was hearing. So the deaf person on the board tried to represent you. We tried to make our case, but majority prevailed in this case. I wanted to let you know that that's the way America works.
Deaf president now. We want a deaf president now.
The University Board of Trustees has today elected Dr. Ivan King Jordan as the 8th president of Gallaudet University. And that's all the good news we have, and Gallaudet will sail on to wonderful waters. Thank you for all your interest.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Of course.
Have you seen the DPN movie? I see some hands raised. All right.
You guys who've seen DPN?
You just did. Who's read? But there's no book, right? I wrote one. I've been writing this entire time, and I have the book right here in my hands.
So, you've had a taste of leadership, right? Has it been easy?
No.
When you went through the events of Deaf President Now, I can only imagine the conflicts within. How did you survive that?
I believed in something and I stuck to it. Beliefs, but be honest with your beliefs. You can't believe in something and do whatever else, whatever you're right or wrong. Being a leader, the biggest test is when a crisis happens. When something happens, do you react immediately or slowly?
Well, it depends on what kind of crisis. Sometimes you gotta hustle. And other times I feel like, I can take my time to gather my thoughts, plan things out as time goes on.
Important tip for you, count to 100. What that means is don't react to something when it happens. Take a moment and think. Count and think before you respond. Often, not doing something as a response is fine. The problem solves itself. If you had reacted, it would have made things worse. So sometimes it's better to wait a little while. It's a tough thing, I know.
Thank you so much. Wow, I was really inspired by your presentation.
I love talking to kids. That's my true love.
Oh, love it. So what inspired you to give your book its title?
Well, that's an interesting question. All the papers and speeches that I've ever written, the title tends to come later. I finish the work first, and then I decide on the title.
Ah, that makes sense.
So when I finished the book, I discussed it with my editors at the Gallaudet University Press, and we decided on a title. The title was In the Room Where It Happened. That was already decided. A week later, John Bolton wrote a tell-all book about President Trump, and the title of his book was In the Room Where It Happened.
Oh.
So my editor asked me, what do we do? And I said, well, scrap that idea, gotta get a new one. So I told him, give me some time to think. Again, that was my count to 100 moment.
Yeah, like you just mentioned to the students.
So I gave it some thought, and I read over some notes, and I looked at an old paper that I wrote maybe 2.5 years after the events of DPN called Controlling Our Destiny.
Oh, goosebumps.
So again, that was 2.5 years after DPN happened that I wrote that paper.
Yeah.
Things had changed, but deaf people were still not in control. So that helped me decide Controlling Our Destiny is the name of the book.
The message behind that still continues to be to this day.
Absolutely. But some people don't understand the definition of the word destiny. It's hard to explain the word destiny.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's something controlling our future, our goals, that what we control is out in the distance. Some people feel destiny is very vague and they don't understand it. So I find myself explaining that term even more.
What message do you have for those who are young and writing? Could be signed content as well, right? Let's be inclusive of that, not just writing.
Writing a book or signing a book is an art.
Yeah.
It truly is an art form. It's hard. If you ask any author how they write a book, and all of them will give you the look of, oof, that's tough. The problem with writing a book is that you have to decide the scope of the work.
Hi, guys.
Hello. You can't have the scope creep and adding more details, and it gets larger and larger. It becomes very watered down. You have to keep it tight and to the point to be able to deliver the purpose.
And I can imagine that being very difficult.
It's tough. About 5% of what happened during DPN, I can't reveal.
Why?
I negotiated with my legal team and I signed some documents.
For real?
Yeah. So I couldn't include everything.
Oh,
so I had to withhold that information. And my team wanted to include it, but it just wasn't possible. I knew if I did, it would expose the Gallaudet board to some legal concerns. So I had to set some information aside. I did send a letter to Gallaudet board asking for permission to access the archives for the minutes. And I got a response saying the records were sealed for 50 years.
What? Like JFK records?
Same idea. So I replied asking who said that and when it happened. I was on the board, and I didn't remember that happening. So Gallaudet dug up the information, and they found a memo that said Phil Bravin, chairman of the board, recommends that the records be sealed for 50 years.
No! The irony!
Absolutely. Oops, my bad.
So we're here at the EC department. Are you ready?
This is the key.
You ready to visit the young children?
This is our future right here.
That's right. All right, let's go. Welcome. Now you're about to meet 18 little ones.
Awesome.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
So, Deaf President Now refers to DPN. Phil Bravin authored this book. How cool. So our students wrote something by brainstorming, drafting, and editing, and then they published it. Can you guys tell us what your story was about?
The farm. We went to the pumpkin farm on a field trip.
Last week, my class went to the pumpkin farm and explored.
So this is where it happened. This is what happened. And all of you brainstormed. We filled out this diagram and we created a book. So when you grow up, you can be just like Phil. I'll tell you this, I am so proud of all of you. I love you all. A visit to any school is really a shot of serotonin. These are the kids who are our next generation, and the generation after that, and so on and so forth. The right environment is the correct way of nurturing these children to make the right decisions in their direction. The future is so very bright for them. CSDR is the right environment for those kids.
Oh, thank you again.
Anytime. If you need more, if I may finish another book and come back again.
Yes, please. I'd love that. Join me for the next ride. Bye.
And we're done.
And we're done. That's a wrap.
Good job.
That's